This episode of Super Pulp Science is brought to you by the FanQuest Halloween Ball, happening October 26th, 2019, at the Windsor Community Club, 99 Springside Drive. Come celebrate everything Halloween with us. Watch Night of the Living Dead, as well as other amazing scary movies, and dress up and have a great time. Tickets and information at fanquestcon.com.
Attention, citizens. It's time for Super Pulp Science.
This is Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made. We are here from the road. We were just at Saskatoon and Edmonton Expo, and we've got our eye on the road because New York Comic Con is coming up. I'm here with my long-suffering co-host, Justin.
I'm so sick of hanging out with you.
And my producer, who's missed me terribly.
Of course, I miss both of you. But this has to be a test of your relationship, correct? You're spending so much.
It's a test on our relationship,
but it's and you do this every year, pretty much. It's like a full couple weeks where you go, you do Saskatoon, then you travel. Did you stay in Saskatoon or did you go right to Edmonton?
Yeah, we do a 10-day tour. So we stay in Saskatoon for a few days, and then we stay around Edmonton for a few days in Edmonton.
And so that week between, you kind of divide, and then you do some appearances. I saw.
Yeah, bookstores, comic stores, that whole thing.
So you get some.
We usually do 4 or 5 stops at bookstores or comic book stores. We kind of have our favorites now. We've kind of learned what times and where works the best.
Yeah, and I think a good way to qualify what our favorites are here for someone who's thinking of doing it. The bookstores that fit our style of like, it's 2 weeks before and we really want to come, and is it okay that we didn't like do this like big preamble build up to it? Like, there are stores that they have a loyal following themselves. They're a little bit more easygoing when it comes to doing signings, and so if we have to change our plans and we can only give them a 2 or 3 days notice, they don't stress. We don't have to stress. That's become our favorite stores to work with.
Okay.
Some people, like when we had when Sam arranged our last one, she is a lot more litigious. She was a lot more pre-planning. She reached out a little bit more to stores that we wouldn't have reached out to because they need a lot more hand-holding, and we didn't have the time, inclination, nor interest in doing that. So it depends really on your personality. So we've found shops and shop owners that match our, for lack of a better word, style or lack thereof.
We kind of broke a couple stores in the first time we did it, and they really pushed hard against it and panicked. But now that we've done it before, and they know what's going on, it's become a lot easier. We have pre-existing relationships with a lot of them now.
Maybe it's a good thing to mention that the reluctance from a bookstore to you as a creator who's calling them up and saying, I want to do a signing, is their assumption is that you are going to be the following: nervous and awkward and really a pain in their butt. That's what they're trying to avoid.
Is that because most authors are like that?
Not most, but many. We've heard many stories of authors that come and they just sit on their phone and they're just grumpy jerks because no one cares that they're there, as if they should care as if a average store customer who didn't know you were there should walk into the store and have a sudden epiphany that you're the reason that they're there now.
Right, yeah.
That is never true, right? We don't draw a crowd, although at Happy Harbor we sort of did, which was a really nice surprise. But
that's cool.
We're not there to draw a crowd. We're there to interact with the existing crowd.
Right, yeah. So because if you guys, people already knowing that you're going to be at the convention, that you're in that city, so if they really want to see you, they can see you at the convention. Mm-hmm. And then this is just kind of an added bonus. It's good for you guys because it gets you more exposure in these cities in which you're, out there all the time.
We had this great thing happen at Happy Harbor. We've gone now a number of years, 3 or 4 years now, to do signings.
Is this in Edmonton or in
in Edmonton?
Okay.
Happy Harbor in Edmonton. Great store. It's recently been bought by Wonder Comics, I guess. And there's a name change
Wonderland.
that may be occurring. So there'll be Wonder Harbor. I
think.
think.
Where is this place in Edmonton?
Right in downtown by the university.
Okay. I remember when I used to live in Edmonton, there was a place off of White Ave, amazing comic book store they used to go to. I can't remember the name of it.
It's a really big shop. It does a writer in residency. It's super inclusive. It does all kinds of community outreach, and in the new owners are doing exactly the same thing. They've expanded some of those things. we're just blown away by what a great shop it is. So we love going there, just period, whether or not anyone cares we're there or not. But we've gone so often that now a number of people who normally go to the expo and have made us the reason that they go to the expo now came to see us there, and both Justin and I were told.
That was cool, yeah. It felt very different. Like we actually posted that we were going to be there, and people came specifically for us, and that, I don't know, it felt like we had power
with
with social media.
Did what it had always promised. Yeah, suddenly worked. And many of them were, we heard from them, I have a limited budget, and if I have to pay to get into a show and then pay to eat while I'm there and pay for parking, I'd rather spend all of that money that I would spend just being there. I can spend by skipping it and coming here to see you guys and spend it on your stuff. And that was a really, our heart grew 3 sizes that day. That's the way to put it. So, but coming back to the road trip, we do it essentially twice a year like this because we do a stretch between Calgary and Regina. That's similar.
The reasons that we stick around and book tour is because it's 8 hours to Saskatoon, and then Edmonton is just 4 hours past that. So it's going the same direction, just further. So if we didn't stick around, we'd have to drive back 8 hours and then drive forward 12 hours, basically going past where we just were, like 4 days later.
Yeah.
Which sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting.
It is, yeah. No, I've done that drive a few times, and it is not fun under the best of circumstances.
Doing it back to back,
And around the signings, we do, Justin calls it sort of a workcation, where we get a nice B&B. We try to get a semi-decent accommodation, which is not, for those of you who are on a budget and thinking like, oh, that sounds so nice, you must be so great. No. For $70 a night, less than a crappy hotel, you can stay in a very nice place. And then we just, we worked.
I got an Airbnb for our guest in Pocoaho, FanQuest. Most guests will insist on a hotel, but he was okay with an Airbnb, and it was lovely. It was a nice little house in St. Boniface, and it's very, very nice. And I would definitely try and do that in the future for guests. But also, when I go travel places, Airbnb is definitely my first stop for that kind of thing. Yeah. It works out well.
For us, because we want to come and go at weird hours, and we want to, either make food or bring food, or, you want to spread out. And if you're working, like we were working, so we had basically made a workstation where we spread out the stuff we were doing. You can't clean it up, right? You don't want to have to clean it up every day so that a cleaning staff can come in and do their job. And there isn't really room in a hotel room to do that anyway. So it was just the perfect. It's become a very nice way.
Yeah, usually I come back from this trip feeling like I have to do quite a bit of catch up, and that I've left a lot of things unattended and behind, but this time I feel like I'm on top of things returning. And I think taking, 1 or 2 less events and just getting things done and working on them really, helped my mental state for returning.
Yeah. Excellent.
But the other thing for you made a joke about testament to our relationship. We've figured out, I think, something that works really well for us is not to talk the entire way while we're driving. We put on an audiobook.
That's good.
And we engage with a third party, right, for a huge amount of the time so that it doesn't grind the gears so much.
That's good. Yeah. What did you guys listen to this time?
The Institute by Stephen King.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Stephen King doesn't really need our help to promote him on the podcast.
How about we should get a sponsorship from... what's the name of the app that you use? Listen to audiobooks on. I can't remember.
I buy the books because it helps the author better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I usually buy them direct.
Direct from the author.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, not just direct from the author, but if you pay for an audiobook rather than an audiobook subscription, right? Like Audible, for example.
That's what I'm talking about. Audible. Yeah.
Service.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The author gets a better royalty out of a purchased audiobook than they do out of an Audible bundle purchase. Okay. Right?
And then you get to...
Because Audible, essentially think of it like this. Audible buys bulk.
Right.
Right? And then...
It's the same idea as the Spotify playlist where they only get pennies every time you play their song. Yeah, exactly. But you get more of it if you buy the song, which I guess you can't really do through Spotify. That's interesting.
Right. So...
Cool. Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with audiobooks. I like them, but I don't know why I don't like listening to them in the car as much. I prefer, if I'm going to listen to an audiobook, to listen to it at night before I go to bed or something like that. Like it's I don't know why that is. I enjoy podcasts more in the car.
I've become addicted to the idea that I read short books because I love reading a little book, like something I can read on a plane ride or like just crush on a, in a waiting room or whatever. But if the book is over 300 pages, I want to listen to it.
Is it narrated by Stephen King?
This one was not.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
I think it's better if the author can narrate it. I've also listened to some interesting.
It can be true. He doesn't have. I've listened to a lot of his books that he's read himself.
Yeah.
I would recommend On Writing, which he narrates himself.
Well, yeah, that one makes sense.
It's a dramatic skill to read an audiobook well.
Right.
He's an excellent author.
Yeah. But not a great voice actor.
Not a great voice actor.
He's not a very good actor either. He makes a guest appearance in It Chapter 2, which we saw.
Which we also saw.
Yeah, it's pretty cringe-worthy, his scene.
Yeah.
And not in a horror movie way.
He's done that a couple times, though, right? He's been in a few different movies.
He sticks out.
Holy old Jesus!
The crunch. We are observing a thing we have long predicted. We're long prophesized. We're seeing the crunch happen.
What is the crunch?
So I would characterize it this way. Shows used to have enough attendance and enough interested buyers, and the economy used to be in a shape that allowed A, B, C, D, E, F, G level creators to do well at shows just by sheer volume of attendees and the amount of disposable income people had. Now we're into A, B, C creators can do okay, but you have to be at least semi-professional or extremely competent to be doing well at the shows. Like it still might be your side hustle, like you're not your full-time gig, but you clearly are putting time in and effort into the thing you're doing. Knick-knack sellers, which have filled up a lot of shows and caused the expanding of a lot of shows, you just see it's tumbleweeds.
Really?
And poisoned wells in their little corners of the world. Yeah, it's sad, but it's also it's not a fault of theirs. They're still making their little knickknacks and they're cute and they're nice, but it's just a function of the number of people that are coming through. It's not as high as it used to be, and the amount of disposable income they have is not as high as it used to be. So most of those knick-knack things would fall into what I would consider to be an accidental impulse sale. You didn't know that person was there. You just stumbled across them at the show. You're like, oh, that's only 10 or 15 bucks. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Not as much of that in the crowd. More people coming for their favorites. More people, I think evidence of what happened to us at Happy Harbor is a mark on the wall about what I'm talking about. These people who are like, I only have so much disposable income. If I pay for parking, if I pay to get in, I can't buy your stuff. So I'm going to come to see you before the show so I can get the thing I most want.
Yeah.
And that we've talked to people in trade show land, but specifically in like the Make It shows. What I'm thinking of craft sale places.
Which have been around quite a bit longer than Comic-Cons, but it's the same idea.
Yeah. They talk about the exact same thing. This rise and fall, it's an ebb and flow, and they see it. People who have done it for 30 or 40 years, they've been making their living selling stuff at craft shows, say, comic shows are just experiencing what we've seen all the time, and that the bottom rung of people are going to get squeezed out. The shows are going to shrink and compress, but that compression will mean that the quality will go up again, which will then start attracting more people again, which will then cause it to expand again, and that it's just a normal part of show life.
It seems like it's the people who have been phoning it in and being able to survive off of that like low level of effort just because of the crowds are now feeling they're not doing enough and they don't have enough, and
they're upset about it.
Okay.
And when they're upset, their
blame
sales go
everybody
down
else as well.
Yeah, they're just a grumpy jerk at their table, right?
I've seen, in my limited time as a showrunner, I've seen that among a few. There was one, this isn't famous, but the first year of FanQuest we held at the University of Winnipeg, and there was one very grumpy vendor there. And it all came to a head on the Sunday afternoon when I guess, because it's the University of Winnipeg and they teach classes there, I assume there was some sort of indigenous cultural class going on because they were having a smudge. You could smell the the smell of the smudge coming through.
Right.
And this person mistook the smell for marijuana and was stormed out of there thinking people were were smoking up at the show, which was not the case at all. So it was quite humorous, I guess, but they certainly never came back. They did not do well. But it was not just that. It was a combination of them not having a great weekend as far as sales go and that kind of stuff. And admittedly, it's a small show. FanQuest is not a large show. And so that's very much true where they do have limited money and they're coming there. Some of them are coming there specifically to buy things. Some of them aren't, but
nothing in the creative world can ever be categorized as a get-rich-quick scheme.
Oh, no, for sure. No.
If anything, it's a get-paid,
but like
slow scheme.
4 years ago, Comic-Cons were as close as you could get in the creative world to get rich quick.
Yeah.
Well, I think, there was kind of this rush of like, people were going there and everyone was jumping on board this. They're seeing what things like what you guys are doing and they want to get there as well. Yeah. But it takes a lot more work than just creating stuff and slapping it on a table.
And I've started to see more and more. So like my trends at shows, if we're just going to get into the crux of the dollars and cents of it, Saturday and Sunday used to be the day. Like if it's a 3-day show, say Friday would be like a warm up day. Saturday would be the big sales day, and then Sunday would be slightly less than Saturday. And then I started seeing a trend of Sunday being my strongest day. For a whole year, it was like I could always rely on Sunday to just like crush it. And I've seen a total flip because of who the customers are. So now Friday, Saturday are my big days, right? And Sunday is usually my slowest day. And then Friday, it's people who are coming with my work as the destination. And so I think the translation there is it was like people who were waiting until Sunday to finally say, well, I have a little bit of extra money, I'm going to take a chance on this guy's work, right, who I've never heard of. I don't know what is going on. And now many of those people are my repeat customers, so they're coming first on Fridays and Saturdays, which are the more heavily attended days, to get the thing that they know they want, right? And now Sunday is the casual day, like, oh, I've never heard of this. So I've seen that flip over.
Are you seeing do you think there's an increase?
This is book sales specifically. I'm talking like just with the books.
Are you seeing an increase or decrease, do you think, in people who are staying for the whole weekend versus people who just come for a single day? Or can you tell that at all?
Shows have changed that up. You should speak to this. You've seen this a lot.
I think a lot of people who used to get the 4-day passes now are just getting the 1-day pass because they've done enough full weekends to know exactly what they want, and they can get it all in one day. So there's always like 2 or 3 panels that they're always really interested in, and they'll do those.
And watching the watches all the time, like they're talking to you, completely preoccupied with like, oh, I got to get in line in the next 10 minutes. Yeah.
So they've seen enough. There's so many, especially not as much in Artist Alley, but vendors. Once you've been to like 2 or 3 conventions, you realize a lot of the vendors are just repeats of each other. They're all ordering the same collectibles from the same catalog, and it all blurs together after a while. So there's nothing really special there for them. It's usually a couple artists they want to hit, maybe some exclusives and a couple panels, and they can get that all done in one day if they plan it right. So they no longer have to get the 4-day deluxe pass.
Yeah. So more first-time people are full weekend pass holders. They get the whole weekend because they've heard that's how you have to figure it out. Right? There's an entire culture, and there are like just dozens and dozens of Facebook groups that explain to people who are first-time con attenders like what they should do and how they should do. Like there's an entire culture explaining how you should con, right? Which is only at this time in human history has that ever existed. Right.
But when it is your first time, don't you think that you can't really do it in one day?
Like no, you can't. You for sure can't.
Because you haven't figured out the time frame, and you haven't figured out what you like.
And you don't know what you're interested in. It takes a long time to sample it all.
Okay.
So much to sample.
Now, some other shows have also split it up where you can't buy a full weekend pass anymore. You have to pick your days. So you can buy only a Friday or a Saturday or a Sunday. That was because or all of them.
That was New York Comic Con, and they did that because they wanted more attendees to beat San Diego. If one person getting a 4-day pass,
counts
that's
as
one person, but they're taking up space
4 times.
all 4 times.
Is this a way for them to like fudge their numbers for attendance?
I think so. It totally had to do with the fire marshal like overcrowding thing. Like they wanted more people to be able to access the show, and so less 4-day passes means more different people coming in.
That bears some consideration.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing at FanQuest is offering for those who come the Saturday, because that is the busier day. If they realize there's something happening the next day, it doesn't cost them anything extra to buy the. They can basically upgrade their single day to a weekend because we only do the 2 days, right? So for whatever the extra cost is, $10 or whatever, they can come the second day rather than having to pay a second full day.
Oh,
Does
you
that
can
make
bump
sense?
it up. I see.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I don't want, like, again, people are going to come, it's not, I'm trying to use the program. To me, the programming is kind of what keeps people coming for the second day if they want to, right? If there's something different going on that second day that they want to see, then they'll come back for it. The vendors and everything, you can see everybody in the day.
It's the events.
It's the events and the special stuff that's coming. So that's why I'm trying to kind of keep that option open for them. And we get quite a bit of people who do that, who just, they want to try it out. They'll buy a single day pass because they don't want to commit too much money to it. And then they have a great time. They come back for that second day. So that works out pretty well for us. So
that's interesting.
But yeah, I just think that overall, the idea of it being a full weekend, that kind of is fading. Like overall, people don't want to commit the whole weekend to the event unless there's a lot of fun stuff going on and it's engaging for them.
I'm in the mood for some music. 80s.
I'll make that happen.
My personal art catalog, I would say, is about 70% original content and about 30% fan art. Some of that quote-unquote fan art is we have 4 or 5 pieces licensed that we're allowed to sell.
Right, like The Thing and all that stuff.
Yeah, like The Thing and the Ghostbusters piece and
Did you guys
Stranger
do that?
Things.
Stranger Things is that out yet?
The book will be out in October.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll be officially allowed to sell it.
At New York, we can bring it.
Okay, cool.
But what I was going to say about that is people who are interested in the prints, and for anyone who's listening to this who is thinking about doing the show lifestyle and saying, oh, I don't like to make fan art, I don't want to make fan art, how do I turn art prints, how do I create prints that will sustain me? That catalog that I have of mostly original content has actually converted people who don't buy books or graphic novels but do buy prints and art into readers because they will ask what it's from.
Right.
I really like this. What's it from? Oh, it's from this other thing at this end of the table. Mm-hmm. Right? And I know there are some authors out there who dislike the fact that, I've had this conversation directly, but I won't name names, where authors that are like, I just hate the idea that I would have to have 70% of my booth be for art when I'm mostly a writer. Like writing is what I do and that's what I'm passionate about. Fair point, I guess, if you're talking about taking a stand on what your values are, but that's not what your booth is. Your booth is a way of generating revenue, right? And if 70% of people at shows are there looking for art, you can be upset that that's true, but then don't come to a comic show. Or you can say, hey, if that's who's mostly here, that's what I'm going to dedicate most of my booth space to, and then have an avenue, a channel that leads right to the books.
Plus, it's more eye-catching to have the art on display.
You're competing with some like ziggurats of like artwork and like attention-grabbing booths. Yeah. If you just have a book on your table, it looks like you didn't try.
Yeah.
And so why do I want to give you my time and money?
And that's where Claire Marshall, Ferrying Press, right? She did exceptional. Gear and Sea had a really strong show.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Both shows?
Both shows, but
awesome.
in Edmonton in particular, talking to Claire. And she does a very attractive booth setup display, and it has big posters that are art.
I love the way she. I'm gonna look it up just to make sure I can see with the. But I know that she has like one banner that says robots.
Yeah, that's right.
Another one that says. What does the other one say? I don't remember what the other one says.
She has like a young adult fantasy. She's like really on brand to like let people know that this isn't an art booth, but it is.
But she uses the artwork from her book.
She uses the artwork from the book.
I like because it feels like I have a bit of an ad across the convention.
Yes, that's right.
Didn't I see your artwork like over there as well? I was like, yeah, that's Claire. She's great. We worked on a book together.
Man, so many of Claire's regular readers that come over and like challenge us, like, hey, where did you get these? These aren't your books to be selling. You're not Claire Marshall. So we've enjoyed that. So we're trying to get our patter down.
The other one says fantasy. Just fantasy is in genre of fantasy, but then it says robots, and the kind of the cool kind of font with the gear wheel and that.
Yeah,
kind
she
of
doesn't
stuff.
bury her lead,
That's
right? She knows.
And just looking at the way she stacks the books and kind of displays things, there's a full table there. Looks like there's a lot to offer, so that's a good way to get people engaged as well.
Do we know, like, because Comic-Con's the act of like putting up a impressive booth, like peacocking has become like such a major part of it. Has that bled over into literary conventions? Like,
No.
And like back in the day, what, like, has it changed at all?
So I've gotten a number of them.
Okay.
And I can tell you, no, it's not there. No. And so when I show up with a banner, like, and I tone it down, I bring like a 10% setup to a literary show, and that 10% setup ruffles some feathers badly because I've got a big banner, and so people who've never heard of me come to see me anyway, which really can. There's no other way to say it. Just ruffles the feathers of long-time authors that know the crowd's there for them, but then if you divert it with a shiny object, they don't like that. And then I also have this other magic trick that allows me to do pretty well at a literary festival, is that I draw in the books. Mm-hmm. And people just, it's like you go see a guy doing 3-card Monty, right? You know you're going to lose, but you love the experience of watching it happen. Yeah. So even if they're like, well, I don't like the book, but it's worth buying it to see him draw something just for me, based on what I'd asked him to draw. That has a whole other thing.
Do you guys change your setup for when you do the shows or do the little appearances at the stores? You don't bring your full thing for that either?
We have 24 by 36 stretch canvases, so they're quite lightweight, but they're large and they look impressive. So we usually bring a couple easels and
that are the covers of the book.
Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah.
And we set those up kind of on either side. So we do have like a much bigger setup than most bookstores are.
Well, yeah,
used to seeing.
like I said, when I see authors at bookstores signing, there's usually them at a table, maybe a banner along the front of the table.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it.
Yeah, we do a little bit more than that, and we bring some posters if we have them with us of other art and things. And then we also do an exclusive thing at bookstores that, they don't normally have access to, and we normally wouldn't do it at other venues, but we'll allow people who are buying a book from the bookstore to get a free print out of our portfolio along the way. So it incentivizes people to take a chance.
Well, now we know that people really like the prints, but we don't feel right selling prints kind of under the table because we don't have ISBNs like associated with our artwork.
You're not supposed to earn from it. Like if the bookstore is allowing you to be there, you're not supposed to be making side money
right,
at the table that they've given you. And the other thing too, and I think it bears mentioning, is that if you do a signing at a bookstore, you don't get paid from that bookstore until maybe 6 months later because it goes through all your
all the inventory that you sell is sold by the bookstore.
Goes through the till, goes through the bookstore.
Okay. That makes sense.
And also, so it's bookstores in a way are a loss leader for us. What we're buying with our time at bookstores is this faux respectability. The average person views bookstores as the pinnacle of book selling.
Okay.
And so when we're at a Chapters or an Indigo, there's this perception like, oh, you've made it, right? Which then we borrow for shows from the average person. We were at a Chapters. Oh, you were at a Chapters. You're a somebody. I'll take a look at this book. When in fact the reverse is true. We earn 75% more from a book we sell at the show than we do from a Chapters or an Indigo.
Sure, but you also... especially for the smaller bookstores, they're more likely to stock your books if they know that you're going to likely come through there. You know,
small bookstore
that helps with that.
We'll do direct, but a big store, right? They don't care really.
They don't care.
Yeah, they'll give you a ISBN SKU that's specifically for you as a consignment number, and then you can sell your stock. You can bring your stock and sell it there.
Oh, I see.
Now, what's helped us both is that we've got books in regular channels. We're hybrid publishers. Yeah. We've published with regular publishers, so...
That was the most important trick. We, early on, established good relationships with the chapters in Winnipeg, and so when we come out with a new book, we register the ISBN with that chapters. Now when we go to Saskatoon and Edmonton and we go into a chapters and say we'd like to do a book signing and all our books are in the chapter system,
right. Okay.
Their tone immediately changes to one of relief and like, oh yeah, we can do that.
Because what you're asking by showing up to do a book signing is you're asking that store manager or the person who is normally a sales associate to suddenly do a bunch of boring paperwork.
They have to fill out, like write out every single ISBN, the price, register it in the system, and like it's a whole
And those systems
process.
are archaic already, right? They're all DOS prompts, right? So they're not pleased with having to enter a new book. So you just have to. So the fact that we, like Justin says, we do regular events and signings at a store here in Winnipeg where that store manager knows that they can rely on us to come in and sort of put on a good show for them. And the quid pro quo is they are happy to put books into the system so that we can do those signings. But once one person does it, their system is nationwide.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you guys leave books behind there when you leave so that they have some on the
Usually,
shelves?
yeah, that's the final conversation is like, would you like to keep any books here? And they usually say like, yeah, we want 5 of each. Or,
Now, which is great, but again, you're not going to get paid for 6 months, and they're going to take their bookstore cut. So if you're self-publishing, right, it's a financially not super great, but it's
good marketing.
From a marketing perspective, it can't be beat.
You're on the bookshelf next to amazing authors. Not that you're not amazing, but next to the big names in sci-fi or graphic novels or whatever you're writing. You're right there next to them, and anybody perusing that category of literature will see your work there, which is great.
We got Sylvia Monero Garcia's new book, Gods of Jade and Shadow, was just had been delivered. And they saw it in their SKU as a recent delivery. And I said, well, I want to take a picture of it on the shelf. Can you go get it? And so they dug it up because it's like a friend, right? And I want to, they're like, well, we'd kind of be skipping the line to get her books out, that's on the thing to do this week, but we haven't done it. And I was like, can you? And so they did, and so we got hers, and then one of the staff members was like, oh yeah, this looks really good. And I'm like, well then can you put it on your staff pick shelf? Right? So
I have to read it first.
So the funny thing is booksellers are book lovers.
Yeah.
So if you're in the book community at all, right, they're not the evil corporation that is trying to keep you down, independent book guy or girl, or they or them. The idea here is that there's so much product coming in that it's really hard for them to isolate and give love to any one product.
It's worth mentioning the amount of books we sell to employees of the bookstores once they kind of see us interacting and once they take a look or two. Like we are always selling to the employees of the store.
They're there for 8 hours with you, right? The whole time. So you don't have time to work on it.
We generally like people, right? And people who like books immediately are
She's a special
in that Venn
skill
diagram.
when it comes to book signings, apparently.
Yeah, it's surprising. But I mean, I've known my fair share of curmudgeonly authors who are just happy to do the work and they want someone else to do the other thing.
Sure.
And that's fine. But if you do it that way, then you must go a traditional route. You need an agent, right? You need to get on with a big publisher because then they will pay to do all that extra stuff. But then your chances of doing that have now dwindled to literally 1 in a million, maybe 1 in 10 million.
You have to be really good. It's really good work to do that. Yeah. Interesting.
And the ability to reach publishers and editors and good agents now is also, that net is much wider. So you're competing not just against the publisher, but against all of the great authors that are trying to get that agent. Because those big publishers will only deal with agented authors, right? So it's a whole other thing. Whereas we're kind of in two worlds. We have some of that, and we have the other thing. And so because we have our foot in the door, they're like, well, you're already in here. Well, you might as well bring that other stuff, I guess, right? And so that's been helpful to us and advice that we would say works in any case for other people.
And now, may the Lord bless you and keep you and lift you up and give you peace. Amen.
Should we talk about Concred?
Sure.
What's
Concred?
What's Concred?
Is that like a credit card?
No,
Crud.
Crud. Oh, crud.
Yeah. Concred is what people in the industry call it when they get sick because of a show or immediately after a show. And I don't know what was going on in Edmonton, but like every second person we know was sick.
Yeah, they got laid out by Concred.
Well, but how many of them were at Saskatoon the weekend before?
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if people didn't.
Saskatoon might have been patient zero,
right?
And Edmonton is the
fallout.
The fallout.
Oh man.
Yeah. So Concred is basically just the idea that you're not eating well, you're not sleeping well, you're not exercising at all, and then you're around thousands of people.
Right.
So
it is not. I think it's not something. In my program where I teach, we have called the Crecom cold. There's a bunch of students like who are just in rooms together all day, every day.
Yeah.
You catch everything, and I was teaching the other day, and I'm glad I'm at the front of the class because basically I have my distance from these people. But the coughing was just overwhelming at times. Like, you guys all need to go home.
Yeah. Not to mention everyone's eating so much sugar while they're there. So
that's right. No, there's
like
all kinds of reasons for it,
yeah.
for sure. So to do shows back to back like that would be very difficult. How come you guys aren't sick?
It's a good question. Maybe it's like H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, right? We've earned our place after thousands of sicknesses, right? And now
I think we both had doctor's appointments where we kind of explained what we do for a living, and they said something along the lines, well, if you're not sick on a regular basis from that, your immune system is probably pretty okay.
Yeah, my doctor, I asked, like, should I be getting the flu shot because I'm around so many people? Like, the last time I went for a checkup, he said, how many shows do you do? I was like, well, 25. How many people are at these shows? Oh, well, from 25,000 to 150,000 people. He's like, you're not sick all the time? I said, no. He's like, no, we make the flu shot out of people like you. You don't need it.
That's funny because my doctor is like, flu shot, everything. It doesn't matter what I'm there for. It's just like, want a flu shot? Here's a flu shot. It's just like, without even prompting, he does that. So
take a lolly and a flu shot.
Soon the lolly will be a flu shot.
That's right.
Like, it'll just be the only way they can get us to do it. Is like
they do it. It's funny because for kids, they do it up their nose now. They have a little spray they can do for little kids.
Not a needle.
No.
Oh my God.
But for little ones who don't like the needles, that's an option as well. Because when my youngest was smaller,
so now you can just snort Big Pharma.
Right. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
So great. Yeah.
So yeah, do we have any recommendations for, like, what can you do? Try to get some vegetables.
Yeah,
for the
bring
show.
a cooler or a cooler bag full of food that isn't what's available at the show.
I think that was my number one, big lesson that I learned. I used to do shows, and the last thing on my list to do was food. I would get everything ready for the show. The show would start, and then I'd have to go 8 hours with nothing unless I ran and got like a convention center hot dog.
Yeah, that's bad.
Well, yeah, that's the, and then here in Winnipeg, of course, that was the option at C4 was the convention center food, which is, it was okay, but it's like basically hot dogs or pizza, and that's it.
They
like,
did
really
have tacos
nothing.
in a bag.
Well, that is,
but
come
they
on.
were made out of Doritos, though.
Yeah.
It was like Doritos plus taco meat.
I saw an ad for that for Taco Time or something. I think Taco Time is selling that now. I'm like, come on, guys. You're supposed to be better than this.
I don't know. Then I guess the other thing is, like, sleep is your best weapon against that. So rest a lot before. We managed to arrange our schedules so that we were sleeping well, even though we were on the road.
But is that because we do so many shows, we don't have the... we
don't have anxiety beforehand. No.
Or no, like more so like we see a lot of these people, we make a lot of these connections like little bits throughout the year. But if you're only doing 1 or 2 shows, it's like every evening you feel like you need to go out to the event.
It's a bit of a party aspect for some people, right?
Yeah.
Like you really need to push it because this is like the only chance you'll get for the next 9-10 months to see these people in this industry.
Yeah, that's true. And we're a little bit more picky and choose. Like the first year I ever did shows, I would go round the clock, right? Because that's where the connections are to be made. And now we're much more selective. Like I'll try to arrange important, quote unquote, meetings with people ahead of time, make sure I have one night and then like rest around it. Because you're working 15 hours plus then you're going to stay out for another 8. Like it's hard on you.
That's right.
Yeah. So eyes on New York. What do you have to do to get ready for New York?
I sent off all my exclusives yesterday. After the 13-hour drive, I went back to work, and I got all my limited edition printing sent off and had a phone call and made sure they'd arrive in time. And so now that that's done, it's a big sigh of relief because we have a great printer in New York that can do things pretty quickly and pretty well. So I'm going to get that sent off today. And so, I mean, other than that, like I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Right.
And it's like it's a huge amount of stress, New York, but it's also like my last big show of the year. So I know like there's a ton to do and it's very stressful, but it's also this is the finish line.
Yeah. You've got a couple smaller shows after that. You got one more. Brandon.
Yeah, but like that there's nothing for me to figure out. It's all good. New York, there's logistics and a lot of things can go wrong. These other shows, there's not too many things that can go wrong for me at this point. I've got so much of it nailed down.
Experiences, Yeah.
And you've said before that you guys often will get a lot of work out of New York.
New York is New York and San Diego, you come back with a lot of things to follow up on and a lot of potential projects.
And it's the culture of that show. People are looking for talent, and they're looking for something new. They're looking for writers. If they gave you their card, they want you to follow up, because that's literally why they're there. A lot of shows, it's just a little bit of glad handing or whatever. Oh yeah, here's my card, whatever. But in this case, it's like, please, please reach out to me. I have a job for you if you reach out to me.
Okay.
Right. So that's always a good thing. I am waiting. I'll find out tomorrow, whether or not it's a publisher bringing me out to New York Comic Con, or whether I'm going to go out and just help out chasing artwork while I'm there. I have that ace up my sleeve, is that if I want to go to the show just to make those connections, I can go with Chasing Artwork and help out at his booth, and then because I've written a bunch of the products that are there, so that's easy. But there's another comic company that is about to make an announcement about their existence, and so they're going to bring me out. So that's why I'm vague booking right now.
They're about to announce their existence.
Yeah,
is that what you're saying to me?
They've got a number of A-list comic creators, and then me also on their roster, and so they're putting together I think their heavy launch will be in this calendar year coming up after October, but they're talking about doing a soft launch.
That makes sense, because it's the biggest con at the last big con of the year anywhere, really. Like, there's not much else happening.
There's Anime NYC is growing in size, and it's in the same place, so a lot of our friends are doing this one and that one.
Is that the next week?
It's like 2 weeks after.
Okay.
Yeah.
They tried to roll it together one year, and that was a bad idea.
No, they didn't. They tried to compete with it.
Oh, is that them?
So Anime NYC is run by the people who started the New York Comic Con, and then they sold that to Repop and started Anime NYC. So the guys who bought it, Repop, were like, well, we'll do anime, and we'll do anime too, and then we'll take the wind out of their sails.
Take that. Oh man,
is the way I heard it. I am
goss
very much hot gossing this. Don't write this down. But that's what I heard, and it didn't work out so well.
No, it didn't.
Because they had it in another building, like a 10-minute drive away.
Anime communities also, people into manga and anime, as much more so, I would say, than mainstream comics. It's community driven. And those communities are loyal to each other, and they look after each other in a way that I find it astounding. I don't really understand what the magic ingredient is, but there is a magic ingredient, and it's pretty wonderful to behold. So, hearing that one show is just trying to instant pudding it, I'm not surprised it didn't work. Yeah.
Before we go, I do want to ask you about your big announcement last week that you are the writer in residence.
Oh,
University
yes,
of
that's
Winnipeg.
right. That's not a secret anymore.
What's the deal with that?
So I am the new writer in residence at the University of Winnipeg, and the deal with that is I am... how it works, the nuts and bolts of it, is that the university puts me on salary for that 1 month, and then 2 days a week I am available to the student body, but not just students. It can be anyone from the community. So anyone in Winnipeg, anyone in Manitoba that wants to can use me as a resource to review their work, to go over their comic scripts, film scripts, theater scripts, anything that I've had experience in. Basically, we made a bullet point list of any of the stuff that I've ever done. I'll happily give them advice or give them the next steps, right? We were very clear in some of the descriptions that there are some areas that I have much more experience in than others, and so if you want to bring a graphic novel pitch to me to go over, I have a lot more next steps for you than if you want to bring your film script to me. But I have experience enough to at least point you to somewhere else if you're just at the beginning. So the purpose of a writer in residence is to do that, is to make the experience of one person available to a large group of people using the infrastructure that the university has, right?
Cool.
They're able to let thousands upon thousands of people know that you're there, schedule the meetings for you. I'm going to be doing 2 public events also, a public reading, and then for lack of a better word, I don't know what's the way to, like, almost like a dissertation about my view on comics that I'll be giving. Which
Does
sounds
this have
very...
the potential to grow into something more than a 1 month?
Well,
Or
so...
do they do that so they can constantly be rotating it out?
No, the reason they do it as a 1 month is like sometimes writer residencies are much longer. A bigger university might have you for 5 or 6 months or for the whole year. It depends on the budget of that university. They pay you a pro rate to stay there the whole time, but 60% of your time you're supposed to be doing your own work.
Oh, okay.
So they give me an...
Are you going to have trouble with that?
Yeah. I hardly have any work to work on. No. And it's the notion behind a writer in residency is it stabilizes a working writer, right? Gives them an income so they don't have to chase an income. But then in exchange for that, you share your experience with that next generation of writers, you know, and I don't mean generation by like younger, but just younger in your steps of writing, you know. Often when we hold writer workshops, you know, there are many people who are, you know, twice our age that come to it because they're at the beginning of that comics writing journey, but they've been writing for other mediums for a long time. So that's that.
Awesome. Well, that's excellent.
Super exciting.
I was, honored to be offered it. And it's also, I think, indicative of a wonderful thing that's going on. The academic snobbery related to comics, I think, has finally ended.
And somebody, I think, especially UW rather, that helped with that was Candida Rifkin.
Rifkin, yeah.
We got to have her on the podcast.
Yes,
she's very, very good.
Yeah.
I did a panel with her at Prairie Comics Festival a couple of years ago, and she was excellent. And she's got a whole program there about studying comics and that kind of stuff.
She's also a little bit of a comic surgeon. Like, she will peel back the careful layers of how everything works and why. It's really interesting to hear her talk about the nuts and bolts of comics working together. Yeah, I would love to get her on the podcast.
Okay.
She was a supporter of myself in the residency, and I'm really grateful.
Excellent. All right.
Well, this has been Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made, hoping that all of you will join the fight and make comics.